So guys, everybody, Late here. Welcome back to another video. This is gonna be a quick one. It's just gonna be me talking about how far VGC has come in terms of attendance numbers. Recently, this just came to my attention as I was looking through my tournament history on Arcanine Labs, and I realized, looking at the number of people we had in our regional, that it is absolutely insane the amount of people we get nowadays compared to what we used to get. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. I think recently, especially in the Sword and Shield 2. Scarlet and Violet era, we've seen such a growth of the game. Tournaments used to not get a lot of players, and then at the start of the Sword and Shield era, we had around 300 to 500 player regionals, which was almost unheard of for VGC beforehand, at least in recent years. So it was really nice to see a resurgence of VGC. A lot of people were getting interest in the games, which I was really happy about because I really like VGC. I want more people to play it, so that was absolutely amazing to me. I remember the first regional I went to was Philly Regionals in 2019. I believe they had 118 masters, something around there. And now I'm registered for, if I go to registered, I'm registered for Portland and Charlotte. And Charlotte's sitting at 738 players, Portland's sitting at 508 players. I mean, just like, you couldn't fathom that back in 2019. And I really feel like it's due to the influx of players like Wolf, like Aaron Zane, all these content creators, as well as making competitive Pokemon more accessible, and the new games kind of pushing it a little bit. You know, Sword and Shield, they had, you know, in the Nintendo Switch news, they would have, oh, you know, here's this new series rules have come out, and I really feel like that helped get the promotion out there, and people started pumping out content, people started watching that content, especially during the Sword and Shield era, and it really kind of sparked this new interest in VGC, whereas previously it was more of a niche community. Now I still think VGC is pretty niche, but you are starting to see a lot of people play it. Like, I remember back in early 2020 there was a Smash Bros Invitational that was put on by Wolf Glick and a couple other people that had many of the top Smash Bros players, and then, you know, people in the Smash Bros community. Ludwig was in that. Let's go. But like Ludwig played VGC. You know, as soon as you're getting major Twitch figures into the field, I feel like VGC has kind of become a little bit mainstream, which has been really cool to see the growth over the years. Starting from, I started playing in 2017. I wasn't active in the community until 2019 though, but seeing the growth from 2019 up to this point is absolutely insane. So I think I just want to take a little bit of time to go over some of the history of the games. And when I mean a little bit of time, I do mean a little bit because I have to leave for work soon. But we're going to go through and talk about kind of some of the history of the game. So if I'm still connected to the Wi-Fi, the page is going to be slow. But if we look at the history, we see in 2022, Secaucus Regionals had 160 players. Now, for a 2022 regional, that was about average. You would have around 160 to 200 because they put a player cap on it. But in the beginning of the 2022 season, we had around 400 or 500 players for a regional, which was absolutely insane. I don't think people knew about you know, regionals like that, or I don't think people expected regionals to get to that scale of, you know, 500 players, which was incredible. Or maybe they did, because I remember back in 2020 we had a couple of regionals. We had Collinsville and we had Dallas regionals that hit over 500 players. Shout out to Luke Mir for getting top 8 in both. Yeah, and so those, I think, are when the Sword and Shield era started. That's when you had the hype, especially because now the games are officially on the Switch, so you're hitting a bigger demographic of people, because, you know, the Switch has been out for years and not many people are still playing the 3DS. So having to play, you know, VGC on the 3DS is really going to limit the amount of people that are going to play, because they want to play, most people want to play with the current gen console. So obviously people are going to play with the Switch. That's just kind of how it goes. So having Pokemon Go on the Switch then suddenly just boosted all the numbers as well. And it made it more accessible, and people wanted to play it because it's current gen. So obviously you're going to see numbers skyrocket, and we started to see regionals go from 2019 to around 100 people, even less than 100, then suddenly rose up to upwards of 300 to 500. So that was a huge increase, and it really brought a lot of new players to the game, and it was really an exciting time. And then COVID hits the ground, and it kind of sucks. You know, tournaments stop, but once, you know, tournaments are allowed to return, we're starting to see, you know, like there wasn't too many. They would be like 200 player cap limits, so it wasn't too much. But after the season after COVID, the Scarlet and Violet first season, we saw a huge growth where regionals were then hitting 500 plus consistently for the most part. Other than, you would go to have some Canadian regionals, and yeah, Sacramento didn't hit 500, but like you were seeing 400 plus pretty consistently for most North American and even European regionals, which was absolutely incredible for the scene. I really can't explain how much growth the VGC scene has had. And to see Orlando regionals, I think the biggest regional of all time, if I'm correct, had 826 players. Just absolutely insane. I really gotta say, I've not seen this amount of growth. And yeah, it's all thanks to the content creators. But what I do want to look at here briefly is actually this old website. Oh, I still have Discord on. This old brief website called Trainer Tower. Now, some of you might not know what Trainer Tower is if you are new to the community, but Trainer Tower used to be the old Victory Road. If we go to the main base of Trainer Tower, this is when people would post their team. This is where people would post their team reports. My friend Borgie has his. Let's go. And actually, I believe my friend Justin has his on here. If I look back on it, but yeah, a lot of this is where people posted all their team reports. This was the website to use. Here again, my boy Luke Amir. Let's go. This was the premier VGC website in terms of resources, like finding tournament results, posting team reports. This was it. This was the website you wanted to use before Victory Road really popped up in relevance. And there's a feature where you can just check all the past tournament results. And so I have tournament results from post Worlds 2019 all the way back probably to 2017. But if we're looking at post Worlds 2019, we're looking at the Sao Paulo International Championships post Worlds 2019, and we're seeing 87 players. Now, if we look at I believe the Sao Paulo International Championships just recently had around 400. So you can see an insane amount of growth. Portland Regionals right now has over 500 players signed up. Well, in the past it had 87. That's insane. Richmond Regionals. I don't think we've had Richmond. I was at Richmond Regionals. They won't show my name here because I didn't play well. I think I went 4-3. So yeah. But you could see regionals are hitting below, for the most part, regionals are hitting below 100 people. You have some exceptions being, some like Atlantic City regionals had 300 or had 120 players. So that was cool, right? But you're seeing it's basically high 80s to around over just a little bit over 100 is the range for US regionals. So like still decently large. I mean, you have 80 some people to 120, but that's not that. It's not that much. And we're looking at other tournaments. You're looking at the God, Swedish is a hard language. Jonkoping. I'm just gonna say Jonkoping regional. I'm Swedish, I don't even know how to pronounce that. But it has 29 players, and there's a regional in Sweden later this year, and I'm going to bet you it's going to get over 200 players. So you win a 29 player regional, cool, you're a regional champion. But really, because nowadays 29 players is the size of a PC. That is insane, the amount of growth. Like okay, we did have regionals in Chile. Sorry, my American pronunciation. It's not Chile. But you have a bunch of special events, and we're seeing, okay, so Madison, is this Madison, Wisconsin, I believe, yeah. Madison Regionals has 126, but you're seeing all these regionals are hitting around 100-ish players, and if they're not in the US, they're hitting significantly less. So if we go to, let's see, you also have a lot of special events, but you've seen Sydney Regional Championships had 51. Well, nowadays, regional championships in Australia have around 180. So overall, the player base has just grown in every single way. Bristol Regional Championships, okay, 65 players is cool. Did he use Mega Aerodactyl? This was not the Mega Aerodactyl team. But okay, winning a 65 player regional, that's cool. You still want a regional, but it doesn't carry as much weight with it as it does now. And I think that's the cool evolution of the game. Not to undermine any of these people's performances and accomplishments, but VGC as a game is significantly different now than it was years ago, and it's really cool to see it evolve. Because as we're looking back, okay, so we covered the 2018 season. Let's go to, let's say, okay, that's pretty late. Let's go to 2016. So 2016, you see national. We have each big country has their own national championship. So Italian nationals is hitting 400. So there was significant interest in the game back in like 2016, 2015 era. But you're still seeing regionals are only getting. So Orlando regionals last year was one of the biggest regionals of all time. If not the biggest regional of all time, and we're seeing that in 2016 it only had 150 people, which comparatively back then that's a really large regional. Phoenix, Arizona had 137. Riley Factura, good player, but you're seeing regionals. Oh, this is interesting. Is this Athens, Ohio? Because this has to be. I don't know where specifically this is, but this is really interesting. Okay, no, this is cool. So from 2015 and 2016, there wasn't a huge boost, but as soon as Sun and Moon came out, we saw a huge boost in players. So if we go all the way to, I want to say, we are 22. So you can see where is the World Championship. So the World Championships is here, and then we have post-Worlds format. So you can see post-Worlds formats, not as many people are playing, and I believe Philadelphia Regionals is the first big regional with the new rule set and with the new game, and you can see immediately 250 people. So you're starting to see some growth there. The European International Championships, 565. But overall, the amount of players has increased steadily since Sun and Moon era has come out. Sun and Moon was a huge boost for the game in terms of not getting it into mainstream, but at least growing the player base, so it's not super niche anymore. It's still niche, but not super niche. Then Sword and Shield came out, kind of boosted it into the sort of mainstream, with including popular streamers like Ludwig and Esam and other people to start playing VGC, and Wolfglick hit really start to pop off his content. VGC really started to pick up on this thing, and I remember specifically and then we entered the Scarlet and Violet era, and then they even started to pick up even more. Wolfglick really pumped out his content, hit 1 million subscribers, hit top 30 in the Forbes influential list. Then we had regionals really consistently hit 300, like 500 plus players, so that was insane. And people really know about VGC a lot at this point. I remember the coolest experience to me as to people knowing what VGC is when our school VGC club, on our flight back from going to Sacramento regionals, I was just playing a match against my roommate, and I remember when the flight attendant, one of the flight attendants was walking past, and he stopped us. He's like, "Yo, are you guys playing VGC?" It's like, what? That would have, in my opinion, that would have never happened. It was much less likely to happen, 3 years ago. But because of all the online presence and because of the community growing, because of the popularity of the games increasing and the better hardware, it has all enabled VGC to become and grow to what it is today, which is absolutely insane. I want to look at a couple other events. Also, shoutouts to Malaysia. That's Malaysia. Yeah, shoutouts to Malaysia for having an event. Kuala Lumpur. Now, I believe I remember this. It might be the capital, I think. So that's kind of cool. So we're seeing, really internationals. But okay, see, now you're seeing that for the most part, regionals are staying within the 130. Even Portland hit 130. Like, that's not that much. So where are we getting the huge increase in players? And you're seeing these are probably special events. Yeah, see, Auckland regionals had 27 players. That is really sad. Perth had 49. Vancouver is 87. River Davis, shout outs. But really, it's a much smaller niche community and niche game. And it's not even until we get to, let's say, where's the World Championships? I would even say like 2019, North American International Championships, World Championships, right after, there's not too much growth in the game because you're still on the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon when people have moved on to the Switch by that point. Really. So, truly, after the World Championships in 2019, this is where it goes. And we're seeing, Knoxville Regionals post-Worlds had 68 players. Knoxville, Tennessee, I think Knoxville Regionals last year had 600. So you're really seeing there's a stagnation when you know, there's a lull in the metagame scene where new content is out, but we're not, the VGC stuck on some of the old software. But it's really, I think this video was really cool to just kind of look back through the history of VGC and see how it's grown in the competitive scene. And yeah, I think it's been interesting. If you guys enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, and hopefully you learned something. See y'all later. Peace.